Hi everyone, welcome back and happy Monday. So in this video I'm going to talk about a few things that I do to help me keep my mental health at bay. They're pretty cost effective, it's not as expensive as having to go to therapy, which sometimes that is the best alternative. But anyway, these are free, easy, and some of them are pretty fun and relaxing. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and again, thank you for tuning in, and let's get started. So the first thing I would recommend is getting into audiobooks. They're pretty therapeutic as a whole. It's not that expensive either if you do Audible. And with Audible, it's I think $15 a month. And for the first time you subscribe, you get 3 credits. That's 3 books. And when you're done these credits, you can always turn in the books and get new ones. They have a little return system you can use. And then every month you get 1 credit to do a free book. Now, if you don't want to do that way, there's tons of free audiobooks out there. The one book I would recommend is The Body Keeps the Score. This is a book I started reading not too long ago, and it's about trauma, brain, mind, and body. And in the book, the author explores ways in which trauma rewires the brain and changes the way people experience the world. So that was just a little summary of the book. If you guys would be interested in that, there's a link I'll leave in the description. It's the first 8 hours of the audiobook on YouTube. I recommend reading that. It'll blow your mind, and you can pretty much relate close to home with that book. There's also, again, tons of other audiobooks you can read. Some by Ron, I think Ron Howard is his name. They're pretty therapeutic as a whole. So for number 1, I'd recommend trying out audiobooks. They do work. For me, they worked a lot, especially ones when you get into them, they don't only range from mental health, they go mental health, horror, adventure, etc. Actually, the first audiobook I read was It by Stephen King. Probably wasn't the wisest decision to use that as a first audiobook, but I enjoyed it. I'm a writer myself, so stuff like that reels me in. Anyway, number 2. Doing crafts and hobbies is also pretty therapeutic. Me, for example, I crochet. See, I make little premature baby sweaters. I've done some dolls. This one's a work in progress. Even, newborn baby dresses. I started off doing baby blankets. That was, I think, the starting of last year. So I've only been doing this for about a year. But I started off with baby blankets, and I moved on to dresses, dolls, cardigans, hoodies. It's a pretty therapeutic art in itself, crocheting, knitting. If you can knit, that's okay, but if you want something a little bit more, it's easier for the same result, crocheting. And it's not even expensive. You can get hooks from Walmart for $2. You can get a ball of yarn for $4. So it's not bad. And then YouTube has millions of tutorials on different things to make in a variety of languages. There's also websites like Ravelry. Was it Ravelry? Yeah, sorry. Ravelry. There's Pinterest. There's some other sites out there you can find. But you'd be surprised at what some people can make out of a ball of yarn and a crochet hook. It is amazing. Number 3, I would have to say find an outlet. So I know that's not exactly easy, but even online there's tons of places you can go, websites where you can chat with people who suffer just like you or who can relate to you. On Facebook there's tons of groups where I've joined some where there's 30 or 40,000 people. It's a big mental health community on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram too, if you know where to look. So try and find an outlet. And even for those of you who watch my videos here in Toronto, I have lists of all sorts of places in Toronto that offer free mental health care, lots of clinics, psychiatrists, psychologists. So I'll leave a link in the description to that. If anyone is interested, let me know in the comments, and I'll either message you privately or I'll leave you a link to some of the places I go to that will pretty much take anyone in and give you advice, and you can talk to people. Most of these are walk-ins, so you can go in like most times during the day. But I'd recommend finding an outlet. There's Google Plus, even though it's closing down soon. Google Plus, I think there's, not sure, I think I remember 4 or 5 mental health groups on Google Plus, and each group has about 4,000 or 5,000 people per group. So there's always that. Again, Twitter, maybe, I'm not sure, there could be chat rooms too. I wouldn't really recommend that. But for sure, find an outlet, because talking to someone helps a lot. Remember, it's okay to not be okay, even if it means you opening up your laptop or your phone and recording yourself talking to yourself. It's just a way to get it off your chest. Don't keep it bottled in, because it'll just make things worse. Number 4, breathing exercises and yoga. Now, personally, I haven't done yoga. I thought about trying it maybe this year. Granted, you know, the year doesn't get too bad with other things I'm dealing with. But yoga is one way to help clear your mind, you know, flush out your body, get rid of all that negative energy. And there's also breathing exercises. I think you can always YouTube a few of them. I'll leave a link for some of those too, like the breathing exercises where you do it like 3 times a day. You do when you wake up, you do one at lunch, you do it before you go to bed. You can do it more times too, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. I think 3 times is what they recommend when you do breathing exercises. It's just a way to relax your body, stay calm. And especially if you're an insomniac like I am, I find doing breathing exercises before you go to bed kind of helps with you falling asleep a lot quicker. But remember, I said kind of, so it really does depend on the stubbornness of your insomnia. Like mine is pretty stubborn as a whole. Now, number 5 is a little tricky to explain. This is something that I learned going to therapy. And the way you do it is every day you write down your negative thoughts. And you do that for about a week or so. And you see how it evolves. If it's the same thoughts on that sheet of paper for 7 days, try a different experiment. Turn the paper on the other side and write positive thoughts. Every time you think of something negative, try and think of the alternative, which would be the positive to it. Do that for a week and compare what you wrote down on that sheet of paper. Because remember something, how you feel about yourself, what you think about yourself, reflects how you feel in general, if that makes any sense. So let me try and rephrase that again. Okay, so I'm going to rephrase that. So research shows that how you think about yourself can have a powerful effect on how you feel. That is also true. So don't always, you know, think of the bad side of things, like, oh, you're useless, oh, you're never going to get anywhere, you know, your mental health is going to beat you, something's going to happen, you know, you're going to go crazy. Don't think of negative things like that, because if you do, it's just going to make your situation worse. And lastly, the other thing you can do is exercise. Now, I know for a lot of us, exercising when you're feeling depressed sounds like a chore on its own. But as someone who's done a marathon, I started running, doing a lot of jogging and stuff last year. When you exercise, especially when you jog, your brain releases serotonin, and that's what makes you feel better. That's also what they use in a lot of your antidepressants and stuff. So if you exercise, you can always like go for long walks, that counts too. But exercising helps because overall, when you're done a workout, you'll feel a lot better about yourself and the situation that you're in. So, you know, don't shoot it down. Try it. If you're not really one to exercise, start off with walks. Taking long walks, I guess, can be the equivalent of going for like a 5-minute jog. It's kind of the same concept. But with that being said, you should always try to eat like at least one full meal a day, at least one. I know a lot of us too who suffer, we don't eat, right? If you have an eating disorder, that's kind of a different story, but try to eat, you know? At least one good meal and maybe a couple snacks throughout the day. right? Like for me, that's what I do. I have one big meal maybe for breakfast, or I'll do one big meal at night before I go to bed, like a few hours before, and then like snacks throughout the day. Whatever like you feel comfortable with, but don't force yourself, to overexert yourself, especially when it comes to exercising, eating, taking a break, getting your outlet. Don't overwhelm yourself, don't overwork yourself, because in the end, you're just going to crash. You don't want to have a mental breakdown while you're in the middle of trying to better yourself. I've done that. It sucks. So, with that being said, these are just a few things that I thought about that can help, and these things I've pretty much all done myself, minus the yoga, like I said. And I forgot, I'm going to end this video on one more high note. Sleep. Try to get a good amount of sleep, because when you lack a lot of sleep, it affects your mental health, it affects your body, and that's something I'm working on too. But sleep is very beneficial to how you are mentally, how you are physically. If you're only getting like 4 hours of sleep, that doesn't work out well for you. Try and work on a sleep pattern, and it'll help in the long run. Even though I know that's kind of hard for a lot of people, including me. Slowly but surely, I've been getting back on a sleeping pattern. So try to do those things I've mentioned in the video. Find an outlet, talk to someone. Do anything you need to do. And also, if you want to talk to anyone, I'm always here too. Leave a comment. Maybe I'll leave my social media too in the link. I'm always around for like a DM or something. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.